So be it, Jedi.
What's going on, guys? Back in another video. The Hot Toys Dark Side Anakin from Revenge of the Sith, or formerly known as Darth Vader, is one of the most coveted and highly regarded figures Hot Toys has done. Some consider it one of the last grails of the Star Wars line, and to be honest, I can see why. Having just recently bought this figure on the secondary market and paid an exorbitant amount of money for it, I got my reasons. I gotta say, all the hype is pretty warranted. So that leads me to another question. Revenge of the Sith Anniversary is this year. 20 years really makes you feel old. And it begs the question, is Hot Toys going to revisit this figure and give it the 2.0 upgrade? And I would say yes, but not in the way in which a lot of collectors are expecting. Nearly 2 years ago now, Hot Toys announced Artisan Anakin Skywalker, updated portrait, rooted hair, you name it, this figure is orders of magnitude better than the original. So naturally, collectors are going to say, hey, I want that exact same thing, but the dark side version. And of course, you can't guarantee any of this. I'm just speculating that we're going to get an Artisan Dark Side Anakin. The original had about 3,000 pieces, so I would say that this definitely wouldn't exceed that. If anything, it would probably be less. And we're all aware of the bloodbath that was trying to get the Artisan Anakin, so I would expect the same thing, if not worse, for the dark side version. But something that really gives me pause and sort of helped dictate the decision I made in purchasing a 7-year-old figure from the secondary market that was a lot more expensive than retail, I would say that we're only going to get the Artisan Dark Side Anakin. I don't think there's going to be a sculpted version. And the reason for that is the original from 2018 was limited, if I'm not mistaken, at least was exclusive, perhaps harder to get. Maybe in their eyes, they feel that that iteration of Anakin, while being scene specific, is less desirable. Of course, you're limited with your display options. You couldn't just have him as the Jedi Knight that he was. And for the most part, I think Hot Toys is really trying to change the market and change how they do things. We've seen several Artisan figures only be Artisan versions. Scarlet Witch didn't have a sculpted version. Recently, the Winter Soldier didn't have a sculpted version. And they're leaving money on the table, but I think they're doing this to generate exclusivity and hype. Now, I fully believe that we will get a sculpted Anakin Skywalker with the same portrait we got with the Artisan release without the Sith eyes, but I really don't think that we're going to get the Artisan Dark Side Anakin along with a sculpted Dark Side Anakin. Now, I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not just trying to cope because I just bought an older figure and I don't want it to get 2.0. By all means, I do. And if it does, well, at least I'll have it now and I won't have to wait 2 years to get another updated version, because ultimately I'm impatient. You never know where you're going to be in a year and a half or 2 years. You never know. You're never going to know if you're going to have the extra money. You don't know where you'll be in life. And I guess my advice for that is, if there's a figure that you consider a grail or something that you've been wanting, but you're afraid that it'll get 2.0 or it's a little out of your price range, and you've got the money now and you want it now, I'm not trying to condone overspending, but you're not promised anything. You're not promised tomorrow or next year or whatever. So if you want something now and it'll make you happy, I think you should just go through with it. And by all means, maybe I'm trying to cope for my expensive figure I bought, but really, I mean, since I got into this game, I've had the vision for my collection, and seeing that come to fruition is something that, you know, I'm sure you can relate to, but it's just a good feeling and it makes me happy. So ultimately, if it makes you happy, by all means, I think you should do so. That's just my thoughts, my predictions with Revenge of the Sith Anniversary. They give us a sculpted, normal Anakin. By all means, I'm diving in, but I don't foresee myself trying to get an Artisan Anakin Skywalker. I don't think rooted hair is all it's cracked up to be. Mind you, I've never owned one, but I just think it's overhyped. I think, of course, you know, you get an extra degree of realism, but we don't know what these figures are going to look like in 5+ years. To be honest, every time I see a rooted figure, I'm always scrutinizing it, looking for imperfections, because a lot of the time you can see the sculpted hairline, you can see the glue. It just doesn't look as good as sculpted hair. That's just my opinion. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think we'll get a rooted Dark Side Anakin? Do you think we'll get a sculpted? Do you think we'll get both or neither? I'd love to know what you think. As always, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.